Hi, this is Matt with LSAT Cracked. In this lesson, we're going to cover how to do parallel reasoning stems. This is specifically when you're asked to parallel the reasoning in the stimulus rather than parallel the flawed reasoning. That's a different type of question stem with a slightly different emphasis, and we'll go over that in a different lesson. So for the purposes of this, we're almost always looking at a good argument. If it were a bad argument, in general, they're going to choose to ask you to parallel the flaw in one of the answer choices. So here, generally, we're looking at a good argument. You want to identify the conclusion. Then, as usual, you want to make sure you understand how the premises lead to that conclusion. Now, unlike a method of argument question, which is sort of the prerequisite skill for this question, you're not simply going to describe how the argument arrived at the conclusion. Instead, you're going to, quote, parallel that argument in one of the following answer choices. Let's get very analytically precise about what that means. You want to pick another argument that, regardless of its subject matter does not matter at all, uses the same structure, the same reasoning structure to move from similar premises and similar reasoning to the same type of conclusion. So let's sort of recap the ingredients, the necessary ingredients that the right answer must have. If it's missing one of these things, it's not the right answer. First thing I would do is I'd scan through the answer choices and I would look at my conclusions that are being listed in the answer choice. Let's say the conclusion in our stimulus is A arrow C. All aardvarks are curious. Okay, that's an all claim. It's an if-then statement. Anything other than that as the conclusion of one of the answer choices will invalidate it as the right answer. So, for example, if it says most this is this, wrong. Some this is this, wrong. Jose should have blah, 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 wrong. That's a prescriptive claim. I need an all statement or an if-then statement. You need that. You also need a similar type of premise or premises, and importantly, you need the same type of reasoning that was used. So, if the contrapositive was used as a way of getting to your correct answer in a different example, then you're going to need to see the contrapositive, i.e. the negation of the necessary condition being used. It's not simply good enough for it to just be another good argument. It needs to be the same type of conclusion with the same reasoning, also arriving at a valid conclusion or a valid form of argumentation. Now, let's talk about three things that often tempt students into choosing the answer choice that are actually completely irrelevant. Completely irrelevant. Number one, the order in which they give you the premises or the conclusions doesn't matter. It doesn't have any logical impact on whether or not the template is being paralleled. Okay, two, the number of sentences being used. The reason why is you may want to see a similar number of premises. After all, if each of the premises is being used in a logical way, you're going to need those same number of premises to parallel the reasoning. But you can do different English constructions where maybe two premises are used in one sentence over here, but they were broken up into separate sentences over here. Has no effect on the logical force or structure of the argumentation. And last but not least, the single most important thing on these is to realize that the content of what is being discussed does not matter at all. If the first argument is about baseball, it doesn't matter if any of the answer choices talk about baseball or some other sport in the answer choices. In fact, it's often an indication that it's the wrong answer choice because they're tempting you with something that's irrelevant. It's not guaranteed, so you can't use that as an ironclad hack to get rid of the answer choice, but just remember, it's irrelevant. Again, to recap what you are looking for, you're looking for three things: the same type of conclusion, the same type of reasoning used to move from the premises to the conclusion, and third, a bit duplicative, but it's just sort of a sanity check, it should also be a good argument, assuming the thing you were reading above was a good argument. The three things you don't care about: the order of the premises and the conclusions, the number of sentences, and the subject matter. Good luck.